Hey, Benjamin Lynn here, Altitude Capitalist, coming to you from beautiful Castle Pines Village, Colorado, on the last day of Saturday, the last Saturday of the summer in 2020. Had a great day. My second grader had a football game this morning, went to the pool in the afternoon, and now we're going to open some 1987 Topps baseball cards. So I wanted to do this set break for a couple of reasons. I wanted to show you the packaging and the condition of cards that come in an 87 Topps set like this. We're going to break a wax box of this a little bit later, so we could kind of look at the comparison between the condition of the cards and how it's presented. I opened up a box of 1984 Topps wax yesterday. Very disappointing. The cards were off center, but also they were damaged a lot. A lot of times I would open the pack and immediately see the corners in this pack were not going to yield a single PSA 10 card, even a common, out of that pack. And I think it really goes to show you how difficult it is to pull a PSA 10 quality card. But with 87 Topps cards, if we're talking complete sets, it generally comes in two different types of boxes. This is a box that Topps ran a lot of over several years in a row, where they had a color exterior. They showed different cards of popular players on the outside of the box. And they also had just kind of plain cardboard factory sets. This one, they always wrapped like this in this cellophane. And also, if you look closely, you can see a piece of packaging tape that always is between the cellophane and the actual box. This one here says bubble gum included. This sticker is actually on the outside of the cellophane. They don't all have this that say bubble gum included, but you'll see the gum inside of here. And if you're not expecting it, it's kind of a surprise. We'll get to that later. But yeah, without delay, we'll open this up. And the key players we're looking for in this set are Barry Bonds, Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, Don Mattingly, Barry Larkin rookie, Nolan Ryan. Those are some of the top cards that we're looking for out of this set. So let's take a look and see what we have here. And here's that packaging tape I was talking about a minute ago. Okay. So there's what we have. It looks pretty clean. These are not in number order, they're not in team order, they're not really in any order. Something I'm noticing right off the bat, I'm seeing a lot of staggered cards here. And I'm seeing a lot of cards that are lined up very nicely right here and kind of over here. We'll see if that makes a difference on the condition of the corners. This all comes down to how roughly this box was handled over the years and what happened to the corners. Okay. It's Cal Ripken All-Star card. Set that aside. Dick Hauser. Steve Carlton, there's a Hall of Famer. There's the Mattingly right off the bat. The centering's pretty nice on this. This card looks like it's in pretty good condition. I'm happy with this Mattingly. That's a good one. There's Lou Whitaker. It looks like the centering's nice on this. There's a couple print marks up here that diminish the quality of that card. Here's the Tony Gwynn. Centering probably 55-45 left to right. A little bit off north and south, but overall this looks pretty good. The managers have the team checklists on the back. That's we got here. Sparky. There's Pete Rose manager. Pete Rose also has a player card in this set. Here's the manager card, and this looks like this looks perfect. Great surface as well. Okay. So those conditions, the condition of those cards look pretty good. I'm happy with that. Corey Snyder, Mark McGuire's 1984 Olympic teammates and gold medalist. He was a great prospect for a while. Charlie Hub, this guy was so nuts. This guy would sign as many cards as you put in front of him. You give this guy 10 cards, he'd sign them all. Super nice guy. He was probably really old too when I met him several times when I was a kid, chasing down autographs. He pitched for a lot of years. Okay. There's Dave Winfield. Tiny bit off center, maybe 60-40 left and right. Looks good north and south, maybe within the band of tolerance. We'll take a look at that. It's Ryan Sandberg. That looks pretty well centered here. That's a nice Ryan Sandberg card. The corners on these look great. The edges on these look great also. Donnie Moore, well, Google Donnie Moore, find out what happened to him. It was not good. Earl Weaver, fan favorite, Hall of Fame manager. A little bit off center, maybe 55-45 left and right. Okay. Corners looking really good on these. Looking really nice. Gary Carter. Someone we lost way too soon. There's Ozzie Smith. This looks pretty perfect as far as centering goes. The corners look great. A friend of mine who sent a lot of stuff to PSA has got a centering tool and a magnifying glass. The goal of these is to find a few we can send to PSA we think are quality PSA 10 candidates. But we're going to put a lot of scrutiny on these. It's almost impossible to tell the difference between a PSA 9 and PSA 10 card just with the naked eye. You really got to look at it under magnification and really be critical. Hall of Famer, back to back. Jack Morris, a Hall of Famer there. Kind of a marginal member, but a member nonetheless. Andre Nelson. A little bit off center, left and right. Robin Yountz. This is definitely off center, left and right. Lots of Hall of Famers in this. Lots of Hall of Famers in this set. Haven't hit any of the big ones yet. Bonds, Mattingly, Ryan, Canseco, McGuire, Barry Larkin. Let's see what we get here. Here we go. Another Hall of Famer. Again, 55-45 off center, left and right. But the edges and corners still look good on all these. Here we go. Canseco. Centering's pretty good. This passes the first test. Let's see what the back looks like. Back looks a little off center. Back's off center. That's not going to be good. That's too bad. The front looked really good. It's Paul Molitor. Another Hall of Famer. Okay. You know, you can't do a whole lot about how these things are cut, but I'm quite happy with the overall condition of these cards. The edges and the corners are looking great. Carlton Fisk, this looks like it's pretty well centered there. Wally Joyner, he was a big prospect for a while. There's Ryan, 60-40 off center. Corners look great. Let's see how the back looks on that. Back looks pretty good. A little bit off center, left and right. Reflective of this off centerness. Not going to send that one in. That's too bad. This guy signed a lot of mail. He would sign everything he sent him in the mail. Nice guy. Mike Greenwell, he was a star for a few years for the Red Sox. Okay. Moving along here. Okay, Ricky Henderson. Again, tiny bit off center left and right. A little bit off center north and south as well. But again, the corners look fantastic on this. The surface looks good. The back also shows kind of the off-centerness that we saw on the front. That shouldn't surprise you. Talking sorta. Tommy John. There's an underwear company called Tommy John, and I've always wondered if they cleared that with this guy, the original Tommy John. Maybe the people who created the company have no clue that this guy even existed. I don't know. But they advertised heavily on Sirius XM radio, especially the talk radio stations on Sirius XM. Tommy John. Don Sutton, another Hall of Famer. That's a little bit off-centered as well. It's Mike Schmidt. It's pretty good. Schmidt looks pretty good. 500 home runs, solid Hall of Famer. Kevin Mitchell, fan favorite for a few years back in the day. Here's the Will Clark. 60-40 off center, a little bit of print mark there. So first checklist. Bob Melvin. Bob was such a nice guy. When he played for the Orioles, he would sign anything you put in front of him. I mean, he'd stand in front of the stadium and sign 10 cards for you if you asked him. Super nice guy. I think he went on to manage in the major leagues too. I'm not positive. I really stopped following baseball many years ago. I could probably name more members of the 1948 Cleveland Indians championship team than I can name current Major League Baseball players. I think this guy manages somewhere, or he did. It's Dale Murphy. This is well centered. Maybe a little bit off north and south, but pretty good. Bill Buckner, everyone remembers him for one thing. Andreas Galarraga. There's a guy on YouTube who breaks 7 boxes, and he got to Andreas Galarraga. He could not pronounce this guy's name. And, I mean, the big cat, I think he won the batting crown once. A fantastic player for a lot of years. And this guy on YouTube's shown himself as some sort of expert and has no clue who this fella is. It was really eye-opening. Tommy Herr. He signed a lot of mail. Tom Herr, he would also send you a piece of religious proselytization. I believe he called it No One Bats 1000, and he would always sign it, and he would put a nice, he would put a Bible verse that he liked. I would verses sometimes, but he signed a lot through the mail. I hope he still does. I wouldn't know where to find him now, though. So this is the first card I've seen that's seriously damaged. There's a crease that goes across the bottom here. Not sure if you can see that. Not sure what caused it, but it's the first one I've seen major damage. Here's the Pete Rose player card. This looks very well centered. The corners look really good. I mentioned earlier that there's a manager card that's separate from this. There's a slight print mark right there by his nose. Back looks good. He's showing 4,256 career hits on that card. Obviously after he broke the record. Here's the Barry Bonds. It is off center, 60-40 left to right. Corners look good. Back looks good. Julio Franco, always loved this guy's batting stance. Glad I got a picture of him in this batting stance. Very easy to identify Julio Franco when he's at the plate. Rick Dempsey, 1983 World Series MVP, always a fan favorite. Here's a marginal Hall of Famer, Ted Simmons. I'll tell you what, I was so curious when he was elected to the Hall of Fame. I thought that I remembered his baseball cards being literally common player cards. And I bought an old Beckett to see if that was the case. I bought the one with Bo Jackson on the cover. And what I found was that some of Ted Simmons' older cards were not common players. He was actually listed in Beckett, showing up for anywhere from 15 to 35 cents, if my memory serves me correctly. But some of the later cards were a common player. So here's someone who's literally a common player who was elected to the Hall of Fame through the Veterans Committee, or whatever they call the current incarnation of the Veterans Committee. They change the name of it every so often. But, I think if for these modern players, if the baseball writers looked at them 15 years in a row and said no, I don't quite understand why a player would be in there, but not my call. Okay. Or Blyleven, here's another damaged card. There's a heavy crease on the surface up there. Here's a guy who should have been in the Hall of Fame much sooner than he was when he retired. He was like number 3 or number 4 all-time strikeout leader as a pitcher. But he took many, many years to be elected to the Hall of Fame. But rightfully so, he is there today. He was also born in another country, too. I think he was born in Scandinavia. He was born in Holland. It's close. There's the McGuire. There's a print mark right here. This won't be good. Unfortunately, this one's centered great. Perfect centering. Great corners. Ugly print mark right there. And this just goes to show you how difficult it is to find a card that's going to be a PSA 10. It's tough. Now these are back. This one's backwards for some reason. Okay. It's Tim Raines. Looks pretty good. I don't think that's really worth sending to PSA. Scott McGregor. I think Scott McGregor became a preacher after he retired from baseball. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. So the guy who cannot pronounce Andreas Galarraga's name, he also thinks Fred Lynn is a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame. I've seen him on 2 different set breaks. He comes across a Fred Lynn card, and he goes, Freddie Lynn, Hall of Famer. Fred Lynn is not in the Hall of Fame. Clown. There's the Wade Boggs. 55-45 off center, left to right. Corners look great. Surface looks good. Edges look good. Clemens All-Star card. It's well centered. Tom McRae, he had a son, Brian McRae, who played baseball in the majors for a number of years. So Reggie Jackson, probably 60-40 off center, left to right. Looks pretty good otherwise. I'm really happy with the edges and the corners on these cards. I can't say enough how happy I am with these, especially compared to the 84 Topps wax box that I opened yesterday, which was a disaster on a number of levels. So it was a BBCE box. It was legit. It was just really bad luck. Card, All-Star card, looks well centered. Another guy we lost way too soon. There's the Clemens. This card is on the box. It's on the front of the box. Looks pretty good. There's the Boggs All-Star card, tiny bit off center. Seaver, got a print mark right there. Otherwise, that looks good. We're going to take a critical eye of these that we set aside. We don't want to send stuff to PSA unless we think it's pretty sure we'll get a 10 because, you know, if it's a 9, you might be able to get your money back from the $10 you pay for the authentication. But you're really shooting 10 here with like 87 tops. This is Kirk Gibson, big time fan favorite. Tony Gwynn, All-Star. There's a Strawberry. There's Lee Smith, another marginal Hall of Famer. Kind of miscut left to right again. Davey Lopes. I was wondering what record he broke. Most stolen bases for a season for a 40-year-old. Kind of an obscure record, but I wonder if he still has it. Jim Rice, Hall of Famer. Haven't seen any of the turn back the clock cards. There were a few turn back the clock cards in this set. I think there was a Yaz. I think there was a Ricky Henderson. Joe Carter, World Series hero. Eckersley, another Hall of Famer. There's a lot of Hall of Famers in this set. This is a well-centered Ozzie Smith All-Star. Cal miscut, 60-40, left to right. Corners look good. Kirby, another guy we lost too soon. This was my sister's favorite player. When we were growing up, my little sister's favorite player was Kirby Puckett, and he was a favorite for a lot of kids all over America. Here's the Larkin rookie. That one looks pretty good. That'll be a candidate. Candidate for PSA. Okay. We're getting close to the end here. Dykstra. Not sure when this guy's going to hit rock bottom. Hopefully it's already happened. I always like the guy. Another Hall of Famer. Lives in Colorado Springs now. Mike Schmidt All-Star card. A little bit off center. There's Billy Beane as a player. I thought I heard this week he bought an interest in a professional soccer team. Don't know much about professional soccer. Mike Boddicker. If you've ever seen a Mike Boddicker autograph, he has a big and sweeping B that kind of starts well below the rest of the word Boddicker. And when I was a kid, I fashioned my signature. My first name is Benjamin. I fashioned the B in my signature after Mike Boddicker's autograph. There's Eddie. Looks a little bit off center, north and south. Love the glasses and the hair on this guy. This is totally 1980s right there. And that looks like... I was going to say it looks like Memorial Stadium in the background, but I don't think it is. Not sure where that is. So Kirby's All-Star card. Here's that Ricky Henderson turn back the clock card. They only turned it back 5 years. It's most of the turn back the clock cards go back further than that. Palmeiro rookie. Too bad about that guy. It's Bobby Valentine. So, Reggie turn back the clock. There's George Brett. Off center, left to right. Okay. Wills. There's the Yaz, turn back the clock. I was looking at the Maury Wills card. I wasn't sure if he played in the Negro Leagues or not. We're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Negro Leagues, and I would like to go to the Negro Leagues Museum in Kansas City one of these days. I'm out my own real estate out there. So the Mattingly All-Star card looks pretty well centered. Corners look good. There's the bow. 60-40 off center, north to south. 55-45 off center, left to right. My buddy has a tool. When we're going to look at these, we're going to layer the tool for the centering on top of these to eliminate items for sending to PSA. Okay, here's a legitimate record breaker card. Most strikeouts, 9-inning game. Remember this. In fact, I'll drop that in there. Jamie, this was a really nice guy. He would sign a lot of autographs too. Nice guy. So Dwight Gooden never realized his full potential over the course of a career. Clemente died with 3,000 hits exactly. All right, looks like just a few cards left in here. There's one last thing I'll show you at the end. Dick Williams, Hall of Fame manager. Okay. There's one last thing in this box. This is usually comes propped up like that between the cards and the side of the box. And you think you're going to get some cards in this thing, you get excited the first time you open it. But sadly, it's 2 pieces of 30-something-year-old gum, which I'm not going to try. So overall, I'm very happy with the physical condition of these cards, being the surface, the corners, the edges, the backs. It was tough to get stuff well centered. Hopefully some of these will be in the tolerance that we're looking for to send to PSA. Hopefully we'll have 2 to 5 cards here that we think are good candidates for PSA 10 to send in. But, you know, this really goes to show you how hard it is to find PSA 10 cards. And I hope you learned a little bit about it. This is kind of what I get when I buy the factory sets, especially in these color boxes. We're going to open a wax box of 1987 Topps, and we will look at the difference between these and those. We'd love your opinion on what you saw here, what you liked, what you didn't like. and what you think about this particular set. Lots of Hall of Famers. I remember the day this came out. Sports Connection on Allegheny Avenue in Towson, Maryland. And I was blown away by the wood borders on this set. It's just a classic look. And I do love it, and I still like it today. But I hope you enjoyed this and would love to hear your opinion about this. Thank you.